When Horiah heard this, she waved her hand subconsciously and said, "No, don't talk nonsense." Noah smiled and said, "We're old man and wife, I don't know you yet? Didn't you often commit crimes before? I will buy a box of ointment on the way home later, and just go back and apply it." Horiah said in a panic, "What are you talking about? Nothing like that." The more unnatural Horiah's expression is, the more it looks like she wants to cover up. So, Noah gave a smirk, pointed at the seafood on the table, and said with a smile, "My wife, it doesn't matter if you don't admit it, but don't blame me for not reminding you that the seafood on the table is all fat. If there is inflammation in the body, or have any ulcers, acne, or hemorrhoids, you must not touch seafood. You have eaten so much just now, so be careful." Horiah was shocked when she heard this, and even the chopsticks in her hand fell to the ground with a bang. She also knows that seafood is hairy, inflammatory wounds or hemorrhoids are afraid of hairy, but is she afraid of gynecological or venereal diseases? Thinking of this, Horiah immediately took out her mobile phone and searched for a line on her mobile phone while others were not paying attention. Can STDs patients eat seafood? After searching, the results came out to her shock. Because all doctors have clearly warned that STDs patients must never touch seafood. That will not only aggravate the symptoms, but may also cause erosion. Horiah was shaking with fright. She couldn't help eating so much seafood just now. Wouldn't she be out of luck tonight? At this time, Wendy added a sea cucumber and handed it to Horiah's bowl, and said, "Mom, you suffered a while ago. Take more sea cucumbers to supplement it." Horiah saw the sea cucumbers, her whole body was hairy. Immediately afterwards, she felt that kind of itching seemed a bit more serious. She hurriedly returned the sea cucumber to Wendy, panicking and unbearable. At this time, the heat from the 6 small hot pots has turned the box into a bathhouse. Horiah felt sweating all over her body, and her itching was still increasing. She hurriedly stood up and blurted out, "I'm full and will go out to get some breath. You can continue." Harold said, "Mom, there are so many abalones in oysters." Horiah said irritably, "Oh, I'm full, I'm not eating anymore." After speaking, got up and went out. Before leaving the stuffy box, Horiah felt a little better. But she also knows that she has just eaten so much seafood, and she hasn't started to work hard for a while. But when she got hemorrhoids, she didn't eat seafood before. She probably knew that attacks would occur about 3 hours after eating. In this way, she can feel it tonight. She was very depressed. When the sound with her husband was still the same yesterday, she was still thinking that her husband was indeed much worse than the overseer. Thinking about it at the time, she didn't hate the overseer so much. Who gave her a lot of happiness. But she didn't expect that just one day later, things would become like this. If she really gets sick, wouldn't it be finished? Horiah, who was so depressed, did not dare to return to that sultry box. She waited. After the rest of the family had finished eating, they walked back with the family. At this time, the seafood seemed to have begun to take effect, and the itching sensation continued to intensify, making her very uncomfortable walking. When returning to the Thompson villa, Horiah was already itchy. The first thing she did when she returned to the villa was to look around to see if there was anything inconspicuous that she could sell. After looking around, she found that there was an imported DeLong coffee machine in the kitchen, which seemed quite high-end. Mrs. Wilson never drinks coffee, she always drinks tea, so she will definitely not pay attention to this coffee machine. Even if she sells it stealthily, she will not know. So she went online to check the model of the coffee machine. This investigation did not matter, and found that the coffee machine turned out to be a top imported high-end coffee machine. Regardless of the size of this thing, it was worth more than $50,000. So she learned how her son used it, went to the second-hand website and found that the second-hand machine cost more than $30,000 at least. In order to be able to find the seller earlier and change to the money to go to the doctor earlier, she directly marked a price of $25,000 on the local second-hand website. Afterwards, she resisted the itching and waited for more than 10 minutes with her mobile phone. Someone contacted her and said directly, "I want it. Can I pick it up tomorrow morning?" Horaya hurriedly replied, "No problem, see you at the gate of Thompson at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning." At this time, Regnar, who is far away in Suzhou, is studying how to stop the endless decline in stocks. His assistant stepped forward and said softly, "Master, the Wilson family's Horaya just posted the coffee machine in the villa for sale on the website." When Regnar heard it, he blurted out, "My mother, this family is a special bandit?"